Solo Josh in the house. Enjoy the sweet sounds in the background of my wife vacuuming for right now. What's going on, everybody? Interesting slate here. 8. That's the first time I've had to count it today. We got 8 games. I'm going to take a quick lap through all of them, and then we'll save the end for questions. So, let's get it going. Let me drop a link in Slack quick, too. Boop, boop, boop. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. I had an excellent day. Liverpool picking up the monster win over Arsenal today. I know no one, well, almost no one else cares, but here we go. Oh, God. People like that intro music. I hope so. I hope so. So, let's take the lap through everything. First up, Pels and Rockets. 113 implied total for the Pels, 116 for the Rockets. If I'm taking a peek at... Actually, let me add ownership. Just realized I didn't have it in here. Yeah, this slate is very stars and scrubbies. But we'll see how that shakes out. There we go. DK ownership in. Saturansky. And let's drop FanDuel in. All right, now let's keep going. So AD is someone that I'm certainly playing. He's part of my Yahoo player pool. Actually, it won't matter. Don't really have much interest in Drew. You could talk me into Randall. I don't believe he came up for me in my most recent crunch, but let me double check it. Randall. Or did he? Yeah, didn't get any Randall on Yahoo for tonight. Price is fine on Yahoo or DK. It's just really not for me on the Y. Josh was not at shoot around this morning. Do I fade him in live before lock? Yeah, probably. Probably should. So yeah, the only thing that I'm looking at coming from the Pelicans pace down spot would be AD. I think he kind of transcends these slates and these games. On the Houston side, I mean, it's really hard to get away from Harden at this point, just scoring at a ridiculous clip. I'm playing him pretty heavy on Yahoo. I think he's fine across the board. From there, I do have a little bit of Capella. Eric Gordon continues to be underpriced on Yahoo at just $14. So those are the 3 guys that I'm looking at from Houston. If we're talking about the other sites, again, like I think it's reasonable to play Austin Rivers if you think he's playing 30 plus minutes, but that's more of a 150 or even like a 20 max. I think you could work him in, but he wouldn't be like a single lineup guy for me. What's going on, everybody? SJM, I'm going to hit all of those as soon as I rip through all of these. Probably like 15 minutes just to go through every game, and then I'm just going to dive into questions. Washington and Charlotte, 108.25 implied total for the Wiz, 109.75 for the Hornets. We got the news today that Wall is probably going to have surgery and be done for the year, which is just a fantastic way to ring in that brand new contract. So enjoy that. Ship my modem. On the Wiz side, it's still pretty clearly Bradley Beal, 8,400 on FanDuel, 7,900 on DK, $35 on Yahoo. Jam him in on any site. He's clearly popular, and he should be. If you want to differentiate elsewhere, go ahead. But there's just too many minutes and too much opportunity there for him to try to do anything else. Let me just move these Twitter columns around so I can keep an eye if anything pops out. Not that you guys won't let me know immediately. The rest of the Wizards for me, Thomas Bryant, Saturansky, Jeff Green, those are guys that I'm rotating through. Those are the 4 guys that I'm using on Yahoo. Saturansky, the clear chalk pay down play across the board. Jeff Green, I think, looks fine on DK, great on Yahoo. I'm less interested at 4,400 on FanDuel, but it's not like I'm walking away from that sort of number. 4,400 is nothing. He's still a great play, but 29% ownership, so be aware of what you're getting. If you really like Ariza, I don't think that it's outlandish just because of the minutes. 5,400 on DK is probably the spot where you want to do it. After that, I don't really have much else on the Wizards. From the Hornets side, I think Jeremy Lamb is in play for $21 on Yahoo. Other than that, I'm not really getting a ton here. Kemba is he's priced too highly at this point, and it's really hard to deliver on a ceiling there. On Yahoo, you would need 60. That's a lot. I mean, you would need the same thing on DK and FanDuel. That's a tall order on a slate like this. So outside of Lamb, and then if you want to punt and take a risk on someone like Malik Monk getting a couple extra minutes because Tony Parker is out, I think it's worth a shot in max entry. But he could just as easily play 16 minutes and Devontae Graham soaks it all up. So don't get too crazy about it. Let's keep moving on through the next game. Hawks Cavs, the battle of two just super dreadful teams. A pace down spot for the Hawks, which, kind of rare. Cavs, monster pace up spot. Cavs, one of the slowest teams in the league. Hawks, one of the fastest. So, interesting spot for Cleveland. I'm anxious to see where this pace ends up at the end of the game. From the Atlanta side, I don't believe that I have a single... Actually, I do have one. Well, two. Alex Len is obvious. They're running short on bodies. No Dedmon. Len is in. So 4,200 on FanDuel, great. 4,100 on DK, great. $10 on Yahoo, great. That one's easy. That one speaks for itself. Kent Bazemore for 2,100 on Yahoo is a guy that I have been playing since Yahoo started jamming in the additional overlay. Went for 36, 47, 33, 40, 46. Like he's been playing a bit different lately now that he's been starting. He needs 41 for value on Yahoo. I think that's completely in play in a spot like this. So I think Bazemore is a guy that I hope gets overlooked a lot. I think this is a really nice spot for him. Otherwise, I don't have my eye on anything coming out of Atlanta. This is, I guess, a good spot for John Collins, but I'm just avoiding it. So Len and Bazemore are the two guys that will be coming out of this game for me. On the Cleveland side, I get Chetty kind of regularly, especially on Yahoo at $12. This is, like I said, a monster pace up spot. So I do like the idea of getting someone like Chetty in a faster pace game, lots of turnovers from the Hawks. I think that he can get to a target score in a spot like this. And then I have some exposure split between Jordan Clarkson and Alec Burks. Burks only $12 on Yahoo, still looks good. The $4,400 price point on FanDuel looks pretty nice as well. And then for Clarkson, $6,000 on FanDuel, $6,100 on DK. Not super fond of either of those prices, but he's only 17 on Yahoo. So those are two guys that I'm using out of this game. No Larry Nance for me. Don't necessarily have a problem with it because of the huge pace up spot. It is a place that fits him pretty well. Still with Thompson out, but Zizic is in, so I'm not going to go too crazy on trying to dig out of the best kind of value for Cleveland. But this should be a really big time up and down game, so keep an eye on it on the Cleveland side. Yeah, Free Zanman says Chetty is a GPP play only. Completely agree. To Memphis we go. Memphis 98.75 implied total. Boston 101.75. Not an appealing spot. But slow pace game, major defensive game. I do have a little bit of Mike Conley on Yahoo, $28. He's been popping up pretty aggressively for me. Been playing at a 1.12 fantasy point per minute rate over the last 30. So I am playing him in a lineup or two. I don't get the sense that that'll be terribly popular. So go Mike Conley for me tonight. Otherwise, I don't have any interest in anything else from Memphis, and I do not have any interest in anything coming out of Boston. Jazz and Knicks. Jazz 113 implied total. Knicks 101, so 12-point favorites for the Jazz. No Jay Crowder tonight, so I expect to see a couple extra minutes going to Derek Favors. Rudy Gobert, I think I got him in one lineup. I don't want to misquote it here. Gobert, yeah. So I have Gobert in a lineup. I have Donovan Mitchell in 2. I have Derek Favors in a ton. I have a Joe Ingles lineup. I did not get to any Dante Exum on Yahoo, even though he is the flat minimum. I think there are just better value plays out there right now. Ooh, Zizic is out now? Huh. Okay. So, ignore what I just said about Ante Zizic. He went from in to out. I don't get the sense this matters all that much for Cleveland. I can basically pull Zizic's minutes and give them directly to Channing Frye and call it a day. So for our premium subs looking for updated projections, not that these are changing anything, but I will post an update right now with the Zizic to Channing Frye news. Boom. And boom. All right, so those are uploaded. So yeah, back to Utah. Pace up spot for the Jazz. Terrible defense coming out of the Knicks. So I do have a scattered amount of the top 4 guys here: Gobert, Mitchell, Favors, and Ingles, with Favors being the most interesting guy for me at $19. But I think you can't really go wrong for any of these guys. On FanDuel or DK, obviously Dante Exum is going to be some chalk. No Ricky Rubio, so Exum should soak up some minutes. I have him in for 26. That might even be low. If he plays kind of well, I can see them giving Raul Neto a couple less minutes. But I think Exum looks great here, especially against the Knicks. Good time to give him some run. They signed him to a little bit of an extension before the season started. They want him to be a guard for the future, so happy to see him get a couple extra minutes. On the Knicks side, I have one lineup with Noah Vonleh, and that is it. He's $19 on Yahoo. That looks fine. If you want to play the Unicornet, we're going to go down this path again. Perfectly acceptable on Yahoo. I don't believe I got him. I did not. Obviously acceptable on FanDuel as a complete punt. No issue playing him on either one of those sites. I don't even really have much issue playing him on DraftKings. 4,200 isn't really the best price for him, but it's still a really nice value play. He would need to get to like 34 for you to be really happy in a tournament. Don't see any reason to see that that's an issue. Ownership only at 8% in our most recent update. If that's the case, you can make a case that that's probably a little too low. So no issues across the board with Cornet. FanDuel, obviously, you can drop him if it goes wrong. And then on Yahoo, flat 10. So no problem there. It's different now for me for Cornet because I expect him to actually get those minutes. I didn't see him getting all the way to 30 whatever, and I certainly didn't see Enes Kanter getting the gate. All right, next game. Ripping through these. Phoenix Suns, Denver Nuggets. I do have some Devin Booker. 105.5 implied total for the Suns. 110 for the Nuggets. I did make sure to get some Devin Booker. He's only $1 more expensive than Bradley Beal, and obviously Beal is a significantly better play on the surface, but Beal is going to have monster ownership. And if you take a look, Booker's most recent game log, he needs 56 for value. Hit it on the last one, 59, 60, a 55. Just been gunning a lot since he's come back. 22 plus shots in each of his last 6-7 games. I like going to a little bit of Booker, hoping that his ownership is low. I think it's an interesting spot to get a little different. Ceiling is just slightly under Beal's, but I would expect the ownership to be dramatically gapped out, at least on Yahoo. For Booker, 9,500 on FanDuel is a pretty tough sell. I think 8,400 is pretty reasonable, though. You need him to get to like 57 fantasy points for you to be really happy about it. I don't see really a reason where that can't happen. So no issue with Booker. If you get to a DeAndre Ayton lineup on Yahoo, I think that's fine. If you get to a Mikal Bridges lineup on Yahoo, that's fine. I don't see a ton of other value here otherwise. On the Denver side, Jokic 97 on FanDuel, 95 on DK, 47 on Yahoo. I don't believe that I got him at all, but let me just double check. Yeah, I did not. Don't have much of a problem playing him on FanDuel. He needs 59. Can easily do that against Phoenix. DeAndre Ayton is going to offer very little defensive problems for him. So if you're a fan of Jokic tonight, feel free to jam him in. I think that looks perfectly fine. Otherwise, it's Mason Plumlee on Yahoo again. No-brainer. $12. He's going to play 28 plus minutes. Now, I'm coming at this with the caveat that I expect Paul Millsap not to play tonight. If he does end up playing, Mason Plumlee is going to take a pretty sizable hit, but I don't get the sense that they're going to just let this float out there for him. Seems like a weird spot to bring him back on the road against Phoenix. So for me, I'm assuming that that Millsap does not play. But if he does, take Mason Plumlee back out of your lineups. He's too expensive across the board. I am getting a little bit of Monty Morris on Yahoo, $13. I think he's an interesting punt. I don't expect him to be terribly popular, and Phoenix isn't that great defensively. So that was just an easy one for me. Nothing else coming from Denver. 2 games left, and then we can start getting into some questions. Portland and Golden State. 111.25 implied total for the Blazers. 115.25 for the Warriors. I'm not sure that I got anyone on yeah, that's not true. What am I saying? So Yusuf Nurkic, $23 on Yahoo. He's probably my most popular center. Let me double check that. I ran a couple crunches first. Yeah, I have more Nurkic than anyone else at center. 23 Yahoo dollars is criminally underpriced. He needs 43 for value, projecting him for 38. That's really, really close. And then Aminu, only $11 on Yahoo. This is a spot where you would expect him to stay out on the floor for defensive purposes. Going to play a ton of minutes, 33 plus, I would imagine. At $11, I'll take my chances that he bangs out a couple corner threes, picks up a couple steals. So I do like Aminu. If we're talking about Portland's side from a FanDuel or DK perspective, I think Aminu looks pretty nice at 4,600 on DraftKings. I don't have much issue going to Dame at 8,700 or 8,300. I would prefer Dame to CJ for sure. And Nurkic is fine, but you need so many more points on FanDuel and DraftKings. If you're rostering Nurkic on FanDuel, you're shooting for 50. Similar story on DraftKings, but on Yahoo, if you're playing Nurkic, you're only really shooting for 43, and that's a pretty big gap. So don't be afraid to check that out. On the Golden State side, it's pretty much just Durant for me. 10-7 on FanDuel, 9,700 on DK, $48 on Yahoo. I have no problem going there. If you want to go to Curry, I completely understand it. It's just really not for me tonight. And similarly, Draymond, he needs 46 on FanDuel. He needs 47 on DK, 47 on Yahoo. If you want to go there, that's fine. I really don't enjoy rostering him right now. It's not for me. And then, I don't have any interest in Clay. You can talk me into it on DK. If he's only 8% owned at 6K, I think that's reasonable. Don't touch him on Yahoo. I wouldn't touch him on FanDuel. Finally, late night hammer, Clippers and Spurs. 115 implied total for the Clippers. 111.5 for the Spurs. I don't have a single piece of the Clippers. You can make a case for Montrezl Harrell for $20 on Yahoo. If you think that Boban is going to soak up a ton of minutes today for $10 on Yahoo, I think that is feasible. I don't have any part of this. I had the ability to get to Gallinari. He was in my player pool on Yahoo, but I did not get him. Everybody else is kind of priced in a point where I don't really have any interest. From the Spurs side, I've got some DeMar DeRozan. He's $35 on Yahoo. I think that looks pretty nice. LaMarcus Aldridge for $28 on Yahoo I think is pretty nice as well. No issue with him on FanDuel or DK. And then Derek White at the flat minimum on Yahoo or $3,700 on DK, I think is a worthwhile punt. Nothing to get excited over, but if you're looking to get a little different with your punt plays today, I think Derek White is feasible. Pace up spot for the Spurs. Should be a close game. Should see 27-ish minutes or more. No issue going that direction. So I've got my Yahoo lineups in right now. The Ante Zizic news didn't exactly sway me off of anything for the Cavs, so I can hold tight, and we can start taking questions. So Slack chat, if you're listening, drop your questions in, and I'll start working my way through them. God, I feel like I just talked a lot, and it's still only 6:24. Going to finish this off. I've got some leftover steaks from when my parents were here. We're going to turn those into some tacos. And then I'm going to cozy up on the couch, have a little Gorilla Glue, and watch some MMA. Got to watch Johnny Bones Jones get his belt back for the third time, even though he's never lost it. Alex Len or Thomas Bryant. One caveat for all the questions. If you're dropping questions into YouTube chat or Slack chat, please give me a site. That matters more than the people, honestly. So after that, we're all good. What's that notification? Eton Moore and Solomon Hill will start. House and Len or Bridges and White in a DK GPP. Oh God, probably Bridges and White just because I don't want House. Can you take anybody other than House? Oh, Michael King and I are going to be having the exact same night. Burks and Ariza or Batum and Clarkson FanDuel GPP. Burks and Ariza for sure for me. I don't like touching anything involving Nick Batum right now. Is Larry Nance at 3% the best play on the slate? No, not even close. Make sure I'm not talking out of my ass here. I expect that 3% number to climb a little bit unless we just put out an update. But no, I would... There are plenty of other plays that I find to be better tonight. I don't have an issue with it, now that Zizic is out, but... No, there's enough else out there. Larry Nance not exactly the most trustworthy guy in the world. No problem with it. If I would have gotten him in any sort of volume, I wouldn't have complained one bit. But he's a center on Yahoo, so he wasn't really on my radar. All right, where else are we? Satoransky or Exum on Yahoo. Two different positions, so that does make it a little tough. But I would have gotten, infinite Satoransky, and I don't have any Dante Exum. If you're playing Exum on Yahoo, you're probably going to have a bit different of a construction just because of Beal and Harden. So I don't hate it. I like Exum. He's a part of my player pool. He actually grades out as my 6th shooting guard on Yahoo. So no problem playing him. If I would have gotten him in 50% of my lineups, I probably would have kept it. It just so happens that I'm having a hard time getting away from Bradley Beal and James Harden. Surprise, surprise. Bryant and Plumlee on Yahoo feel unavoidable. No. Kinda. Look, they're both fantastic plays. The question you'll need to think of is, can you find other value plays that have similar upsides that'll be less owned? So for me, Plumlee is $12. I think you can just as easily go to Al-Farouq Aminu or Jeff Green or even Chetty. Plumlee has a way higher ceiling, and he hits that number more often. But the ownership on some of these guys, there's going to be too big of a gap. I have Plumlee. I have quite a bit of Plumlee. But I think there are places that you can go at power forward for similar price points. At center for Bryant, him and Len are going to soak up a lot of it, as will Cornette. So I think you could rotate through all of those guys. I see Bryant, Len, and the Cornette as pretty close to equals. Bryant and Len, pretty decent gap between the two. or between, it's Bryant and Len together, and then Cornet like a step behind. So if you think that there's going to be any weird ownership discrepancies, I would try to rotate through those guys and get a little bit more of the guy you think is going to be heavily owned. PJ Tucker or Aminu on Yahoo. Aminu for me. Len or Bryant on FanDuel. Let's see. I have Thomas Bryant projected for 1.5 more points, but if this ownership holds true, and I think we will probably get an update, if Bryant is really 17% owned and Alex Len is 3, then the play is absolutely Alex Len. How is Josh going to answer 100 questions at once? I'm hoping that I can answer at least a few. What else we got here? Why no Gasol? He has crushed Horford through the years past. 2 FanDuel points, 46 and 52 last year. I don't know. Let me hop back to it. I mean, this is one of those things that we've talked about where the margin of error is so tight on this. 7,600 for, like, we're looking for 50 out of him, 52, 53, 55, somewhere in that neighborhood, depending on the site. You really need everything to go right in that game, in just a slow defensive slog. So I'm not all that interested. I don't see a ton of upside there, but, you know, could be wrong. Could be wrong. EMAC, I don't know if you're serious, but yes, you could use my FanDuel projections for Yahoo. Same exact scoring. I don't assume that you're actually serious, but I do think you might actually really be asking for a friend. Durant, Derek White, and Len, or AD, Satoransky, and Bryant. Well, Durant, Derek White, and Len will certainly be more unique, so I don't have a huge issue there. But I prefer AD to Durant. I prefer Satoransky to Derek White. And I prefer... Man, I probably prefer Bryant to Len. So I guess I have to take that second group. Wow, I have 16 tag messages now. How high is the ceiling on Satoransky and Exum on DK? I mean, it's not like they have like 70-point ceilings or anything, but they're both comparable. Favorite DK small forward, 3,700 or less for a GPP. Jesus, we are scraping the bottom of the barrel here. I'll give you the goods, though. I mean, there's probably, what, like 5 guys that are feasible here? Small forward. 3,700 or less. Oh my God. Can you find money elsewhere to get out of this awful area? I don't think that I can. I don't think I could recommend someone for DraftKings at 3,700 or less that I truly recommend you play in a GPP. Mo Harkless, I don't know. Find more money elsewhere. That's not a range where you should be trying to just fit in. How recent are the projections? I don't know, 5 minutes ago. Will we get another? That good. I'm not tagged in that, thank God. Len or Cornet on DK? It's almost assuredly Len, right? Cornet is not like super duper cheap. Oh, they're like the same price. Yeah, Len for sure for me. LaMarcus Aldridge and Young or Gallo and Dre in a DK GPP. Probably Gallo and Dre. I hate Trae Young. Gobert or Lillard? Cash. Oh man. Probably Dame. Yeah, I would go Dame there. There we go. Ownership just updated for everybody, just in case you're curious. Bryant or Aminu? Don't know which site, so it's hard for me to answer. Probably Aminu. No, not Blossom Game. I'm good there. I'm more than okay on that one. Damn, I'm hungry. I cannot wait until 7 o'clock. I desperately want to eat tacos. Can't wait. Oh, can't wait. Final NFL shows tomorrow. The final live before lock for myself and Chris Spags. I'm excited. Probably not doing a live stream tomorrow, people. We've got people coming into town, both friends of my wife and one of my best friends coming into town for New Year's. I'm not so sure I can justify an NBA live show tomorrow, but I will drop some projections and cheat sheets and stuff in Slack. So let me see what the schedule looks like. Maybe I can do a strategy video in the morning to cover it. Yeah, what are we looking at? 5-gamer tomorrow. Probably not likely. Avery Bradley or Austin Rivers, DK GPP. Just take Rivers, but don't be happy about either decision you make. Taco Bell, Josh. No. I have I made some monster New York strips for my parents when they were here for Christmas. So we've got a little bit of leftovers. Josh, you're our only source for FanDuel. Can we get some ownership? I mean, it's on the screen if you pay attention and pause this stuff. But no, I can't cycle that out. But you can sign up for a free trial at awesemo.com. Use the promo code LiveBeforeLock. You'll get a 7-day trial, and you'll have access to every piece of this, including Fantasy Cruncher if you're interested. You just have to make sure you pick a Fantasy Cruncher package. What do I put on my tacos? Meat, obviously. Whatever cheese I have, usually some sort of Jack. So probably some Monterey Jack, some sort of salsa verde, a little avocado. Matt Millie, what's going on with Fast Eddie Fears rankings? They haven't been updated in a week. He's on vacation until New Year's Day. But you'll be fine reading everything else, I promise. Is there enough FanDuel value for a true Stars and Scrubs lineup tonight that could win GPP? Or is ownership going to be way high on the Scrubs? I mean, there's no way to know any of that. There's enough value to do anything either direction. Jackson or Vonleh, FanDuel GPP. What Jackson? Frank Jackson? Jaren Jackson. That'll work. Or Josh Jackson. There's too many Jacksons. Be more specific. Obviously, I know Noah Vonleh. Chubbs. That Gator get your hand, man. What's your DK pivot off of Plumlee if Millsap is in? That's a good question, actually. Let's think about that. So if we find out that Millsap is in, we have the opportunity to pivot out of Suns, Nuggets, Blazers, Warriors, Clippers, and Spurs. So what's Plumlee's he's power forward center. So let's do this. Let's get power forward and center. If I need to get off of Plumlee on DraftKings if Millsap is scratched, I'm going to Aminu at 4,600. I mean, if you need just a 1-for-1 straight swap, you can go to Aminu pretty easily. If you have other moves that you can make, go for it. You can cut salary elsewhere, but you can very easily drop from Mason Plumlee to Al-Farouq Aminu, as long as he's in a forward spot. If you have him in a center spot, it's probably going to get a little bit more complicated. So keep that in mind. Aldridge and KD or Ariza and AD in a FanDuel GPP. Man, that's a really good question. What do I have their totals at? So let's look at their ceiling projections. We'll say Aldridge and KD, right? That's a 105 total. Or Trevor, Ariza, and AD. 111. Ariza and AD. Jaren Jackson Jr. or Vonleh. Probably Vonleh. My Len take could play him everywhere. I have him in for 26 minutes. He's a fantastic value on any site. He's better on Yahoo than he is on DraftKings, and he's better on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings, and he's best on Yahoo. Lamb or Vonleh, DK, GPP. That's a weird combination. I assume it's Lamb. 31.9 for Lamb. 29.3. Yep, Jeremy Lamb. Any love from Marvin Williams? Not really. It's a tough guy to prioritize today. $16 on Yahoo is probably the best spot for him. The pace up for Charlotte does look good. If would I be mad if I got him? No. But he's not someone that I gave a single look today. KD or Beal for a FanDuel GPP. It's going to be hard for me to say KD. Beal's ownership is at 32%. We had Durant at 22%. That's not big enough of a gap. I think their ceilings are the same. But you're spending, $2,000 less. So I don't get the sense they're going to need Miles Plumlee. If you're nervous about Alex Len, feel free to break him down to like 23 or 22, but they don't need to run out a ton of centers. Between Spellman, Poitras, if he plays, John Collins can play the 5. I just assume that they're going to let Len soak up, 20 plus. I mean, prior to getting hurt, 35, 21, 21. I mean, even just 21 here in both of them, but that's, with Dedmon on the floor. So I think 25 or 26 is pretty reasonable. Did I get to AD or Harden on Yahoo? Yeah, of course. A little bit of AD, a ton of Harden. Bembry in play on Yahoo? You're asking the wrong guy, man. Bembry's in play for me every day, and every day I hate it. Any Tatum love? Absolutely not. Just got in from seeing Spider-Man. Who's the chalk outside of Satoransky tonight? I'd answer that question, but you're in premium Slack. You have the ability to just go and look at our ownership projections. They're at the top of that. I promise. Oh, man. Oh, I'm so hungry. 18 more minutes. I feel like time is standing still. Is there any... What can we do that's fun? What's a fun little game we can play for the next however long? Let's play Crunch Random Lineups. Let's do that. I'm going to crunch out 100 lineups. We'll see what it looks like on FanDuel. All right. If I drop my FanDuel projections in, I'm going to change everybody. I'm going to cap everybody at 50%. We'll see how that will break out. I don't think I put any settings in. All right, let's do 3 uniques, 58.8, max 3, and we'll let it rip. UFC predictions. John Jones, Cyborg, what other fights we got? Arlovsky. Who else am I missing? Nope, not PPB. PPV. UFC 232. Come on. Show me the. There we go. Chiesa over Condit, Ilir Latifi, and then Chad Mendes. So I got everybody on this left side except for Chiesa. Davis Exum or KD Moutier? Davis Exum. Doesn't matter really which side for me. I haven't looked at Moutier at all. Will I take chances on Boban? No. Harden, Plumlee, or Durant, Bazemore? You're speaking my language with that Bazemore play today. So give me Durant, Bazemore, and get different. Why no Tatum? That game is a black hole for fantasy. Kunal, I'm not giving you that answer, but you can sign up using the promo code live before lock and check it out yourself. 7-day free trial. All right, let's check and see what we got on Yahoo. If I cap at 50% on Yahoo and let it rip, AD, Jeff Green, Bradley Beal, Emmanuel Mudiay, Satoransky, and the Unicornet all hit 50. Chetty coming in at 49. Probably wouldn't need that much. You can safely drop that number down a bit. That's a good point. MMA projections debuted on Awesemo this week. Come check those out if you're interested. Malik Monk and Jokic, or Gobert and Monty Morris. Gobert and Monty Morris. Lots of James Harden, lots of Bryant, Burks, Rivers, Lillard, Antetokounmpo. Okay, so here's a good example. I did not update our ownership projections since we have the most recent update, but this will tell an interesting story. Turn this into a little bit of a process show. So if we look at this right now, I got 30. Crunching that with Brooklyn and Milwaukee was stupid. So let's drop this 150 in here, and we'll do it again. I want to give a little bit of a thought process here. Great MMA article on Awesemo. Absolutely. Homer Cleese kills it. Absolutely kills it. C-Mill, bro, get that Brooklyn-Milwaukee game out of that crunch. Yeah, as soon as I saw Giannis at 31, I realized what the problem was. So what would be a good example of a problem in the crunch? So if I set my exposure at 50%, I'm obviously getting a ton of guys at 50. But if we come down to, let's say, what would be a good example? Okay, perfect one here. Well, this is Len. That's not a perfect example. Nance isn't a perfect example either. But even someone like Moutier, if you get 49% Moutier in a crunch and we have him at 12%, you probably don't need to play 49% Emmanuel Mudiay. There's just too much going on at that position. So if I jump to point guard and resort here, where's Mudiay? So Mudiay is at 58, so there's not really anybody in his direct line of sight. But you can pay a little bit more to get different and you know, or pay a little bit less to get different and drop down to Colin Sexton at half of the ownership. Just scatter out a little bit of this. If you get to 12 here and 49, and cap them at 36 and redistribute that 13% of ownership otherwise. Similarly, we could look at other positions and do the same sort of exercise where, you know, we don't need 48% Chetty at $4,600 when he's 17% owned. Give a little bit more to Mikal Bridges. Get weird and give a little bit more to like Nick Batum. These guys are all in a very similar salary structure, but you don't need to be that aggressive. So that was kind of how I would use ownership projections for this stuff. What's the nut lineup for today? There you go, freaks. These are sorted in order of the nuts. Moutier, Satoransky, Harden, Beal, Chetty, Green, AD, Unicornet, Alex Len. Get it. Because I'm not that confident in that play. When push comes to shove, this is a math problem. And if you're optimizing 150 lineups and Emmanuel Mudiay is coming up in 50% of them, that's all well and good. That is what every one of these numbers is, quote unquote, supposed to get to for this set of circumstances. However, I don't think that Emmanuel Mudiay, at his price and at this particular spot, has like a 50% chance of being a top 3 or 4 value play on this slate. So I don't need to have him 4 multiples of the field in a situation where I think he only hits his target. What is his percentage? So if you want to win a tournament and you have Emmanuel Mudiay, and you want him to be like a core tenon of that, you need him to hit, on FanDuel at least, 39 fantasy points. He's 5,800. But I only think that he hits that 39 target 18% of the time. So you really only need him in like, now that you need to double every piece of ownership. So like you should probably have him in like 12, so double that up to 24. I think like the optimal spot to have Emmanuel Mudiay is probably in like the 25% range. So you don't need that much Mudiay, because while it may be optimal in these calculations to get him in 50%, he's going to hurt you more at 50% than if you had him at like 30. Would I be fine with a stud like Harden in 50%? Good example. I got Harden in 50%. He smashed up against the cap. He's at 28% ownership. I think that's fine. For Harden, you would be looking for him to hit $73, which he's certainly not going to get to all that often. I've got it at 14% of the time. But when you're getting into a raw points and ceiling argument, I think that there's a different direction to go. There's no one else comparable to him here. He has been playing out of his mind with Chris Paul out. 45 points, 41 points, 39 points. I mean, he's just going insane. Harden kind of breaks the stop process. It's a little bit more relevant in this sort of area, the 4 to 8K guy range. What else we got? Any news coming in? Check Diallo out. Whoop-de-doo. Not interesting. Let's go ahead and do a DK crunch for everybody. How much time we got? 9 minutes to go. We go back to some of these questions here. Is Tim Frazier in a good spot as a FanDuel GPP pivot? Not really. Clarkson playable on FanDuel even at 6K. He's playable enough. Yeah, like I would say that playing 50% of Vooch yesterday when he's 3% owned is not a great play. That doesn't mean you can't be over the field, but even if you play him at 15%, you're at 5 times the field. And you can't look at it just because he went off. There are plenty of other situations where someone's going to play 50% at a 3% owned guy and it goes terribly. Well, obviously, this is a discussion for, more like mass entry. At single entry, you're obviously playing somebody at 100% or 0. All right, let's drop some DK projections in and we'll see what we get. KD or Steph in the DK GPP? I would prefer KD. All right, projections are in. Let's take a look at some DraftKings lineups. I'm going to set everybody at 50%. I'll do 3 max, not 633 max. We'll do 3 uniques, 49,000. A little bit of randomness just so this doesn't take forever. And go. Yeah, it's a little different when you're playing a 10 max, Giancarlo. All right, coming out on DK, Harden, AD, Green, Satoransky, Bryant, Len, Chetty, Ariza, Randall, Rivers, Mudiay, Booker. Yeah, feels pretty similar. The value is the value tonight. Most of the value is cheap everywhere. All right, what's the nuts? Satoransky, Rivers, Osman, Bryant, Len, Beal, Davis, Harden. Blah. I would not like that lineup one bit. No, 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 no. I can't be playing Austin Rivers and Chetty Osman. I am at 33 max per team. Doesn't really matter all that much. I did get 4 Wizards there, though. See how much it looks different when I let it rip. 6 minutes to lock, everybody. Why do I set up max 50 instead of 49 or 51? Is that just a round number bias? It's just me doing a random crunch while we're on here. These aren't going anywhere. I just, didn't want to have anybody more than 50% of the time. There's not really a right answer or a wrong answer to it. I set every single person's individual exposure manually. Well, not manually, but everybody gets set individually for me. Guys, hit the like button for me. I've been enjoying these solo shows. So hit a like and a comment. Makes me feel good down in my plums. Football closing us out tomorrow. We'll see if I can get some content up, but I would not expect a video for tomorrow. And then we will have everything for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday coming into the new year for 2019. I'm excited. I don't know about you guys. Favors over Len on DK? Yeah, for me. I love Favors today. Cephalosher, Vince Carter, and a FanDuel GPP. Look elsewhere, my man. Four minutes to go, people. If you don't have them in, the hell are you waiting for? AD and Zeller or Jokic and Aldridge on FanDuel? Jokic and Aldridge. No issue with Zeller, but I think there are better spots for people. Make sure I got it here. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great spot, 4,300. You need 33 out of Zeller. I think it's feasible, but it's hard to get really excited, especially with the amount of time they've been putting Marvin Williams in at the 5. Zeller's minutes have been trending down. Eastbound and Down reference, yeah. I live where they filmed Eastbound and Down, Wilmington, North Carolina. Gay or Ariza on FanDuel? Ariza, I think. And that was close. Yeah, it's still Ariza. Any issues with Solomon Hill in a DK tournament? I mean, outside of the fact that you're playing Solomon Hill, not really. There's so much else out there that doesn't strike me as the spot where you need to get cute. I wouldn't be playing him. Aminu, Dante, or Monk in Favors. I love that we use one first name in that entire list instead of saying Exum. That's funny. Aminu and Exum, though. Not even close. 3 minutes, people. 3 minutes. Get your lineups in. No, Dave, I don't answer your question. But I did. It's Ariza. The home of Michael Jordan. Yes, it is. It is the home of Michael Jordan. It's the home of Dawson's Creek, the home of One Tree Hill, the home of countless other things. The home of everything that Nicholas Sparks does, essentially. I mean, technically Southport, but it's all the same area. Eric Gordon or Monty Morris on Yahoo. So Gordon grades out better. I expect Gordon's ownership to be monstrously higher. So if you're trying to get a little bit different, I really like Monty Morris, but Eric Gordon is the better play on paper. Can this thing lock already? I feel the same way, man. I got to go eat them tacos. Way to go, Dave. You go gay. There you go. The key message from our fearless leader. If you're feeling good about this slate, put the Osimo logo in. If you take it down and you're in, I don't remember the logistics. Let me read it. You place top 3 in any tournament with 5,000 or more entries, and you have our logo in for your entry. Take a screenshot. You can get a free month for all access. There you go. Free month, top 3, 5K entries. Alabama or Oklahoma? Hopefully Alabama. Roll Tide. Roll Tide. I just want Alabama and Clemson to play every year forever. The only team that I'm definitely not cheering for, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Those guys can fuck off. Great show, everybody. 6:59 and change. What do we got? 25 seconds. If you don't have them in now, you better hustle. Stop listening to me and start clicking upload or export or whatever you got to do. Can you get an HD logo to use? I mean, it's like 100 by 100 icon on these sites. We're locked, everybody. That's it. I don't have anything else for you guys. Thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Best of luck to everybody. I hope everyone has a good rest of the weekend. I hope everybody has a great Sunday slate. If you haven't gotten into the Yahoo NFL tournaments yet, what are you waiting for? I'm going to be honest with you guys. I haven't gotten into them yet. But we're still only 15,000 out of 3,700 right now. They're already guaranteeing 250,000 overlay. Get in there. Sign up at Yahoo using the promo code AWESEMO. That's AWESEMO. $30 free with any deposit, 30 or more. EMAC dropping a message in there. He's got an article about it and listed the promo code in the chat. Check all that stuff out, everybody. But get in this Yahoo tournament. If you're playing Yahoo, or if you're playing any fantasy football tomorrow, you should be putting every single cent you can into this. Whether it's the mini ball, if you can only afford $10, get it into the mini baller. If you're playing anything $200 or less, your first $200 should be going into this tournament without question. I'd be very surprised if they fill that 37,500 by tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So get that shit in there. Best of luck, everybody. I love you guys. Thanks for joining me. Come check us out tomorrow. Game plan from 11 to 12. Laffy and Ben breaking down every game on the slate. And then myself and Chris Spags closing us all out. Love you guys. Adios. I'm done. Taco time.